Alright, what's up, YouTube? Hope everybody's having a good day. Hope everybody's well. It's not I take my YouTube page to the next level and do video dream diaries. This is going to be pretty fun. I actually did just got done doing a video. Sadly, I couldn't do the video fully because this tablet only has like certain amount of storage, so uh, I had to be cautious, so I'm gonna have to do it via YouTube Live. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and just tune in. All right. So all right, guys. So today I'm gonna talk about Video Dream Diary. So today's Video Dream Diary is gonna be about the dream I had a few years ago, a few years back. All right, guys. So the dream I'm gonna talk about today is about my days with the NCAA commissioner. All right, so it all goes back to like 2012, 2013. I had just moved back from Memphis, Tennessee to Syracuse, New York, for personal reasons I don't want to get into. But yeah, it wasn't really a good time down south, so I just said let's come back home. And so we get to um, fast forward. I get home. We say hi to my grandma and niece, and then we say hi to my uncle Matthew. We talked about Memphis and all that. Very good, very good. So yeah, we just say hi, chat, catch up, catch up, catch up. All right, next thing you know, we went to go see. Excuse me. Next thing we gotta get registered for school and everything. They called the school. They called the school. We gotta get everything shipped back. HW. We were originally supposed to go to HW Smith, but that mess backfired. We eventually ended up going to Houston. Here's how the dream plays. A few years ago, back during those times, I actually met with the NCAA commissioner. I actually met with the NCAA commissioner. He paid me a visit because he said he wanted to see me. I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And we had a fun time, spent the day together. He met my family a little bit, but I had this vision, and I thought, let's make it a reality. Here, 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 here. We went to Memphis. Excuse me, no, not Memphis, Tennessee. The next thing you know, talked to the NCAA commissioner about forming uh, not just any football league, an NCAA football league, an NCAA football league, an NCAA football league. For middle school and elementary school students, specifically fifth grade. Next thing you know, go see excuse me, talk to the NCAA commissioner. He said, okay, What's your vision, kid? I told him, let's form a league, where we can express our talents. So, next thing you know, talked to him, so on and so forth. He said, okay, I'll look into it, kid. And next thing you know, he writes me a letter saying he wants me to come to the tryouts. And it wasn't just me. So the way this league worked was, I live in the Syracuse area, so we would travel. It would be from each school you're in. So I was at Hughes during the time. It's now Latin school. It's now a Latin school, but yeah, I was at Hughes during the time. Next thing you know, uh, got people from different schools like Danforth, Roberts, Clary, especially Clary, because them Clary boys knew how to hit. But we specifically Hughes students, but yeah. So we eventually go to tryouts. Now during the times, it was weird. We would try out. We would try out. They originally had us. We were originally supposed to do Thornton to try out at, but that mess backfired. So it was either we practice try out at Danforth, or we go to or we go modern day ITC field, which we eventually then went to the ITC field. We eventually go to ITC field. We eventually go to ITC field. We eventually go to ITC field. Not originally before it was ITC, it was just a regular playing field, but that's where we hosted the tryouts. But because of how popular this league was going to be, I ain't gonna lie, I was a little scared the first day of tryouts because I'm like, what the heck? But I keep forgetting this was held through NCAA. This was held by the NCAA, so we had to have like security guards there. There was just a lot of stuff. I was like, for all of this, I was like, geez. But yeah, let me just worry about me. So yeah, we try out, we try it out, we try it out, we try it out, and I was one of the ones fortunate to make it. I was able. Some got cut, but I was one of the fortunate ones to make the team. Yep. And then after we hosted our tryouts, the NCAA commissioner congratulated us, and it was just on to who was going to be our head coaches. Because we actually, I'm going to get into that later in the video, but because the NCAA commissioner had to find us some coaches, some local coaches, and also help for the actual head coaches of the college football teams, because that plays a major role for this. Um, so going forward is so let me give you a thought. So after the auditions, we made a team, we made a tryout. I talked to the NCAA commissioner about, since we love to do it, maybe is it possible that we could actually get paid to actually play for this league. The NCAA commissioner had told me, don't you dare push it now, don't you dare push it now, but I'll see what I can do. So yup. And then we eventually, it settled. We signed contracts. We got permission slips, got parental consent. We had to go get our physicals, the doctor's notes. And we eventually the NCAA commissioner, he felt for us. He knew we wanted to make money, so we made money. Said we paid we got paid uh at first it was not about $10 an hour, but then over time it changed to like 15 hours. So we were getting paid retail salaries when we first started. But before we go there, the biggest issue was how are we going to be able to yes I am, bro. I start work next week, bro. But anyways, how are we going to govern ourselves, especially because it's the NCAA league? So, 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 so going forward with the league, because I showed up to a couple of the meetings. He had an opportunity, but I had told the NCAA commission because it was tough to decide how are we going to function this league. How are we going to function this league? I said, why don't you just use the current college football format? He said he actually agreed with me. He actually agreed with me. Let's just use the college football format, which is how it came to play. So the problem was, going forward, they'll use the actual format. This is during the Big East era. This is back when the Big East was around. So this was way before the American Conference and before Syracuse moved to the ACC. This was before Syracuse moved to the ACC. This is when Syracuse before Syracuse moved to the ACC. So we're on the Big East Chronicles now. So so fast forward. So fast forward. We're gonna run under the format, and we eventually get paid our salaries. But now the question is the scheduling and also the team names. Now, may I remind you, we're called the Syracuse Orange because that's Syracuse University. We are orange and blue. We are orange and blue. We are orange and blue. So that's the colors we're gonna go with. What's gonna be our name? Talked about it, thought about it. We're gonna keep the orange. Wait for it. It was then decided that we will eventually be called the Syracuse Middle School Orangemen. And not just for Syracuse, for a lot of other ones. Like, for example, the Alabama Middle School Crimson Tide, the LSU Middle School Tigers. Yeah, the LSU Middle School Tigers. Also, the Michigan State Middle School Spartans, the Michigan Middle School Wolverines, the Ohio State Middle School Buckeyes, so on and so forth. You know how it is. You know how it is. Then we fast forward, we got our league, we got everything. Now it just comes down to the scheduling, the parental and enjoy the summertime because then you gotta get ready for your school. You gotta get ready for what school you're going to. And then it was time for practices. We originally started practicing down at ITC, modern day ITC. It was all the way down near South Thompson Street. Played a major role for my childhood, by the way. Played a major role for my childhood. Yes, it did. The problem is we had some issues because the problem was the way the field was back during the time wasn't really good for us to practice on. So we had to eventually move out of that facility and then eventually went to Thornton. And let me tell you right now, the common misconception was we started practicing at SU on their turf. No, 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 no. Because, we was young back then. We was real young. It was not time to practice on the SU turf. So we eventually practiced on. We eventually practiced on. We eventually practiced on Thornton at Thornton Park near SU. That's where we practiced. That's where we hosted all our practices mostly when we first began. And then it's time for the season to come on, and it's been pretty much decided how we're doing the season. We're going to go with however the Syracuse football schedule actually was, because we started off the season against Wake Forest. Now, this is the biggest thing. This is what took the league to new heights. This wasn't just going to be an ordinary league. This wasn't just going to be no ordinary league. That was the weird part. Because, mostly, especially when I first started playing football in real life, I played modified football. I played for the Corcoran Modified Cougars. Like, with our games, there's just a regular small crowd, on one side, the other side, just a regular normal football game. Like high school. This league, on the other hand, oh boy. It all went to new heights. It went to new heights. On an account, ABC, ESPN, Fox Sports, NBC for the Notre Dame Middle School Irish. I was like, oh boy. And not to mention, the weird part about it was, what the NCAA commissioner told me was, when we first started, he told me we was not playing at Thornton Park. Nor were we playing at the Valley. We're not playing at Thornton Park, the Valley, or any high school field. Where else are we playing? We were playing at the Dome. I was like, what? Because what people fail to realize, the type of training we had, it was no ordinary training. It wasn't just any training. For this league, you gotta be ready to go. They were really turning us into D1 athletes. We were playing at the Dome. I was like, what? I was like, okay, but I'm like, sheesh, because we're not even in high school yet. Next thing you know, it's time for the league. It's time for the season to start. When we started off the season against Wake Forest, It was a night game. It was actually held because in real life, the Wake Forest versus Syracuse game was held on a Friday night at the Dome. We was told ours was going to be on a Saturday. Excuse me, guys. I was like, okay, okay. Next thing you know, it's opening day. We actually were told we was using the home Syracuse locker room. I was like, what? Wow. I was like, yeah, this is nice and luxury, because this league was a whole nother story. Next thing you know, we formed the league. We formed the league. We went to Memphis, Tennessee. No, excuse me, not Memphis, Tennessee. But excuse me. Man, it's been years. But anyways, we eventually, uh, we eventually, uh, we eventually went to go see. We eventually got ready, and we were ready. It was time for us to make our entrance. What I failed to realize was that this is when my surprise when the first game hit. It's not that it was a packed house. It was how packed the house was. It was how packed the house was. It was a real packed house. I was like, for this? Like, wow, man, I ain't gonna lie. I was nervous the first time. I said, let's do it, and then we got our coach. Everybody got their helmets on. Let's get ready. And so we started the field, and yep, those fans are ready. They were paid their tickets. Got a whole broadcast crew there. May I remind you that our game, but when the league first started, is that our games before it got national attention to come on ESPN and all that. Yeah, to start off with just ESPN 3. So yeah, it was pretty big house. We ready to go now. I ain't gonna lie, I'm nervous because like we just got done with the practices. Let's see, if we win, we win. We lose, we lose. Because going into the first quarter of play, we started to struggle offensively. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not saying man, even though we won like back-to-back national championships, many people have mistaken us that we were the big. No, we struggled a couple of those games, man. Especially the Wake Forest game because our offense was off, but then we eventually got it together because going into halftime, Wake Forest had held us. It was 14-10 at halftime, Wake, but then we eventually came back. We eventually came back. I was the quarterback, by the way, so it was a little nervous, even though we had different quarterbacks too. I was the main one. My receivers were ready to go, and our defense. We played some good defense. Don't get me wrong, but our offense, we struggled. But yeah, we were ready to go. We was ready to go. So, especially going into the fourth quarter, we made a comeback. We ended up winning the ball game 27-24, I believe it was. Yep, and then that starts our season, and then it was time for the press spot, and the coach got interviewed. So did some of the players, including myself. We were asked questions about next thing you know, we eventually let me get my focus. I'm sorry. No telling how many views this video is gonna get. But anyways, yeah, we eventually we eventually went to go. We got interviewed in the press conference. We did good sportsmanship. Yeah, got a lot of national attention. But our game eventually got on ESPN News because that was really the main ESPN. That was the main ESPN that our games was getting streamed on. So we had to work out some contract negotiations because they was thinking about possibly putting us maybe on CBS, or maybe NBC. But the problem is they wanted to follow NCAA standards, so the SEC middle schools, those were the schools that got on CBS. The Big Ten schools, those were the Pac-12, Big 12. Y'all know the drill. Those were the schools that got on Fox. Sadly, we was just more Big East Network, ESPN, ABC. Yep, and then we continued. Another part that really scared me about when the league was first formed was just traveling on the road, just actually leaving the dome. Yeah, just leaving the dome. So yeah, just traveling on the road. I was like, oh man, we traveling. We ready to go. Especially when we had to go down to New Jersey to play Rutgers too. Ooh. Yep. But yeah, we eventually went undefeated, and then it was time for the Big East Championship. Yep, it was time for the Big East Championship. It was time for the Big East Championship. Who am I trying to figure out? Did we play? Did we play? We played. I think we played Cincinnati or Pitt. I don't remember. But yeah, it was pretty interesting league, especially when we first started. But now we fast forward to 2012. That's a real interesting season because we got, because we actually won the first national championship when the league first started. Yep. We went undefeated because this is what really started to scare me when they was talking about, like, when we first played the national championship. It wasn't until the 20 I think it was 2013, 2014 season where we started playing neutral in actual NFL stadiums, because when we first started, we were still new, so we didn't want to take our chances. So when we first started, we played LSU. I think it was either Alabama or LSU for the nanny, but yeah. We played LSU. Talk about L. Yeah, it was not right now. Yeah, it was. I think it was LSU, but it was LSU. Okay, so yeah, when we first started, we was not playing because the national championship is held via neutral site. It was held in New Orleans that year. We are not traveling to New Orleans. So what we did was they found us. Where did we have? We actually did travel down to Louisiana, but we did not play inside the Superdome because we didn't play inside an NFL stadium when the national championship for the middle school league first started. That came later in the years because we were just new, so we actually played the game. It was at LSU, but there were some Syracuse fans, so that's where the national championship was held. It was held at Bryant Denny Stadium. Yes, it was. Well, people don't like to admit that, but yes, it was played at not Bryant Denny Stadium, where LSU played. Yep. We also had a couple of legends play. For the first year, they did not. I didn't want to go overboard, but we did get talked about on College Game Day by Chris following them, but we didn't start getting travels until later in the years. But yeah. So we talked about College Game Day. All right. So we eventually went to excuse me. Yeah. And that was a pretty good year. It was a very packed house because that's where the first national championship for us was held. Yep, so it was a big thing. They could have chose any team. Could have chose any team to represent in the national championship. They chose us. And when we first played the Natty, we got to a very good offensive rhythm. Don't get me wrong, but our defense was just lacking. Because this is an SEC team. They were built more physical compared to us, man. And I'll tell you that them SEC middle school teams, they knew how to play football. It was turned into the real SEC. They knew, especially because they're from down south and we from up north. But yeah, man, they were ready to go. They were ready to go. But we was banging. We were coming back. They held us at halftime. I think it was 10-3, 10-3. We eventually ended up coming back. It was tied at 17 during the fourth quarter. Final seconds of the game, I'm the quarterback. Ding ding ding. We win victorious 23-17. And yes, we had the lights. We did for the first time get a College Game Day to get hosts there. Chris Fowler was hosting it during the time, but yes, we did get Chris Fowler to host. Yep, and we also got the lights of Crit. Yeah, we got Chris Fowler, we got Brent Musburg. Excuse me, before we got Chris Fowler, we got Desmond Howard, and Kurt Herkstreet, Dave Pollock. Yeah, but also, fast forward, we go to we also had the likes of when it first started, we was getting a surprise. Brent Musburger was actually calling the national championship. Brent Musburger was calling the national championship for us because he calls the main national championship. So this was a pretty big deal. But sadly, Kurt Herkstreet was only hosting College Game Day. He was not going to call this one because they had they had got somebody else. It was Brent Musburger and who was doing color that night? It wasn't Kirk. It was it was Brent Musburger and it was Brent Musburger and Todd Blackledge. Excuse me. Yeah, that was a real surprise. So yeah, we actually made some progress for the first year. We got paid a decent amount of money, so that was good. Got paid a decent amount of money. Yup. We stayed in hotels. We got paid for our meals. It was pretty fun. Fast forward to the later years. We fast forward to the later years. We fast forward to the later years. We fast forward to the later years. This is where I'm getting older. This is where I'm getting older. This was before I'm an adult. 14, 15, 13. Yeah, next thing you know, the next 2 years would change because we were actually told it wasn't just football that we were playing. It was also basketball. Now, when we first started the league, they were actually debating about. Sorry about that, y'all. They were actually debating about whether to host basketball season during when it normally starts in October, or wait till a later month to host it. And the weird part was they did host tryouts for that, and I went to go try it out. And luckily, I messed up a little bit. Don't get me wrong, but I managed. I managed to get with. I managed to get. I managed to get on the team. And the weird part about it was, before Syracuse got into this, Colgate actually started hosting trials way before. Colgate actually started hosting trials way before. Colgate actually started hosting trials way before. Colgate started Colgate actually started hosting tryouts way before Syracuse, so we had to get up to speed. Because they were all ready to go. We was still way behind, and Lord knows, how we managed to have a good season that year. But yeah, we hosted tryouts. So I went to the tryouts because we still in the middle of football season. We're still in the middle of football season. We're still in the middle of football season, but yeah. And plus, who was going to be our coach? How are we going to run this thing? Because Lord knows we should have just stuck with football, but I had said, let's do two sports, and I chose football and basketball. Because aside from football, we know a lot of us love basketball. There. All right, fast forward, football season don't win the natty. It doesn't change the fact, we still got school to deal with. Don't get me wrong. Education comes first. That was the biggest thing for this league. Education came first. If you wasn't meeting the certain academic requirements they were maintaining you to, they were going to kick you out of the league. They were going to kick you out of the league. you wouldn't be able to play no more. And luckily for me, I almost fell in that bubble because I didn't want to get kicked out of the league. So that's why, I did better. Fast forward, basketball season starts in January. Basketball season starts in January. Basketball season starts in January. And I got all my basketball gear. We're ready to go. And the weird part about it, I know usually March, man, this is held in March. So for the first year, it was a little disorganized. So, because, the season when it first started, it wasn't too long of a season when it first started, but then, especially when it's time for next year to come into play, they were actually officially run by NCAA rules and the NCAA scheduling. So, we will usually play until the March month hits. On second year, we usually start till March month. We had to get a total they were nice. We had to get a total 15. Total 15 wins to make the NCAA tournament. If we didn't get a total 15 wins, there's a possibility you could go to the other tournament. And there's two tournaments, the NCAA NIT. Ours was actually called, not for this league, the other tournament was called the Elite Tournament. The Elite Tournament. The Elite Tournament. Yep. Let me get my focus. So yeah, we had to get these total 15 minutes. But the weird part about it was when this league first started, football I could let go, but basketball, I ain't gonna lie, it was more tense basketball wise. It was a lot more tense basketball wise. Yes, it was. It was a lot more tense basketball wise. It was a lot more tense basketball wise. It was a lot more tense basketball wise. Excuse me, basketball wise. Yeah, it was real physical. We was shooting them points like there was no tomorrow, and we played some great defense. They trained us very well, but the problem is with Syracuse, we had started so late, because Colgate was really good, because we actually decided that we wanted to play Colgate the this season, because their team was real good. Real good when they first started. So, the game itself was actually streamed on before it became Spectrum back then, it was Time Warner Cable. Yes, it was streamed. The game was on Spectrum Sports because it was a pretty decent crowd. It wasn't that packed. It was like the way the women's games were, but yeah, man, it was a pretty good. It was a pretty good game. I gotta give Colgate credit because we just started. I gotta give Colgate credit. They played a very defensive ball game. They were able to score, and they were able to score points. Clear. All right. Fast forward. Fast forward. Because we had our days, because we had, even though, and don't get me wrong, even though the league had started, we was treating a lot of games like big rivalries, like LSU versus Alabama, Michigan versus Ohio State, because the weird part about during our Thanksgiving weeks, we did not want to play Thanksgiving weekends, but we had to eventually play Thanksgiving weekend. So what happened was, this is how players roll. Michigan and Ohio State Middle School sadly was told for the first football season when the league first started, Michigan Middle School and Ohio State Middle School would not be playing each other for the first Thanksgiving of the season. Because it was break for us. We wanted to go home. So we would not be playing. They said we will not be playing each other. They said we will not be playing each other at all. Not for the first year. Basketball season, on the other hand, that changed because we are playing. That's how they wanted to get the rivalry started. Because they didn't want to necessarily take away from the actual rivalry itself. Next thing you know, alright, next thing you know, next thing you know, yeah, we managed to get enough wins. So if you couldn't get, the real good part about it was, if you couldn't get the wins during the regular season, you could get the wins come tournament time, which we did. We're part of, the interesting thing about it was, since we couldn't for football season, since we couldn't play in the NFL stadium, they said they would give us a special treat. We playing at Madison Square Garden. I was like, woo! Yeah, we was happy about that. Because, our team was on a roll. We actually managed to go undefeated. Because we did, don't get me wrong, we played a decent amount of games, though. But, yeah, we played some high-scoring games. We played some decent games, but yeah, once we played at Madison Square Garden, no fans was rolling. It was a whole pack. Yeah, the Garden was packed, bro. We was ready to go, because we was having a hard time to see if we could compete with the pros. And it turns out we played some real good basketball. Let's go. We played some real good basketball. Next thing you know, we went to play. It was time. We got to the conference final. We got to the final round before it was time for the championships. The actual championship game. And I ain't gonna lie, it was near luck, man. We had to play, we played our hearts out, man. Very defensive ball games. I will give them credit. All right, guys, I'm in my bed. Nice and comfy, but yeah, it was a big deal for us. That conference final game, be grateful, we even made it to the championship, man. Cause yeah, I ain't gonna lie, Khan gave us a challenge. Cause this rivalry definitely was living up to expectations, man. We brought it to the curve, bro. We was playing basketball like there was no tomorrow, bro. We brought it to the curve. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We packed that garden to the curb because it was starting to live up to the real rivalry, though. It was starting to live up to the rivalry. Next thing you know, we managed to beat Con. I think the final we beat them like 70, 78, 75. Yeah, it was living up to the hype. It's time for the championships. That was the real big deal. We was in trouble final seconds. At halftime, it ended up being like a 20, 23, 20. No, not 23, 20. 32 to 29 ball game at halftime. We was down by 3 against Louisville. Next thing you know, the second half hit. We are ready to go. We are ready to go. Yeah, we was ready to go. The Garden was rocking. The Garden was rocking. The Garden was rocking. And then boom! About 3 seconds left of the second in the second half. The game is tied at like 65 apiece. I'm on the line. I shoot 2 free throws. Now we're in the lead 67. But then Khan comes back with a 3, 68-67. And we go back and forth. They holding me to such a high esteem because I gotta get to that hoop. But it wasn't just another one. There was another guy we had. He did that slam dunk for 2, and we ready to go. And then boom, and the buzzer beater shot, and we won, and we win the Big East championship. Now this is where the real big deal begins. We were sadly told we will be hosting. We were sadly told. Wait for it. We were sadly told for the first year because funding for the league became an issue. We may or may not be able to play. We may or may not be able to do March Madness. But the problem is a lot of parents, as much as they enjoyed it, they were not really happy about the league. Personally, I don't blame them because a lot of parents, they were worried about their kids. Like, you traveling with our kids, you taking our kids squat A, squat B, come on now. You get what we're saying? You scare me. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get my phone. Don't tell me how many views this is gonna get. But anyhow, problem is, a lot of parents, they, all the traveling we was doing, but we still had to focus on our academics and meet our GPA requirements. So they were nice enough to let us play conference tournament. Wait for it. We were told we were not going to do no NCAA tournament for the first year of the league. So if you won your conference championship, that was it. Which we did, but we had fun. But they said the league just started. You know, the more money, the better. And plus, they gotta pay. They gotta pay us too. So you know, we eventually just went on with the school year and did whatever. Okay, next thing you know, March Madness. Excuse me. So there was a March Madness, just not for us. You know, but yeah, like be grateful we got to play the conference championship, which we did. And comes next season because now basketball season is over. We had our fun. Now it's just get done with the school year, get ready for the summertime. What you're gonna do with your families, But I eventually had to go to summer school because I still didn't meet certain academic requirements to move on to the next grade. So we gotta go. We gotta go to summer school. We gotta go to summer school. Yep. Now me, I felt this was a new life changing experience for me. But uh, yeah. What was I gonna say? All right, so yeah, my summertime. I'm still in summer school, but I'm still preparing for have fun. I'm also preparing for the state fair coming up. But let's get ready, prepare for next football season. I went. I would use my backyard to use practice some drills, shoot some free throws and stuff. Let's get ready for football. Let's get ready for next football season because it was eventually time. They were thinking about whether we were going to continue to do the league or not, but some kids wanted to play, so let's play. Let's get back. This is where the official middle school year hits. This is where. Because we're ready, and they told us they surprised us this year, and we are actually going to play the national championship. Ooh, we were actually we were actually going to play the national championship inside an actual professional stadium this year. Yep, but we were also given another surprise. We're going to East Rutherford, New Jersey to play the Trojans. So I was like, what? Yep, going to MetLife Stadium. I'm a Giants fan. Let's go. Play play the USC Trojans. So this was pretty interesting. This was pretty interesting. Yep, we're getting ready for another season, and then fast forward, it's just same routine, same routine. We ready to get back on the field. We ready to go to work. We ready to go to work and do. Let's do it. Let's do it. We just practice week after week after week. Get those academics done. Let's get going. Let's get going. Let's do it. um. So yeah, it was a season, especially that trip to MetLife Stadium. That was actually a pretty interesting trip. Uh, the actual USC versus Syracuse game itself wasn't packed, so our game wasn't really packed that much either. But yeah, it was we had another great season. I was because I'm not going to lie, I wasn't really expecting another undefeated season, but we just became that we just became that good, and that USC upset we pulled. That actually did us good in the top 25 polls. Uh, all right. Okay. There we go, guys. I'm using tablet, by the way. All right. Next thing you know, all right. Next thing you know, we went to yeah that trip to MetLife. It was a decent drive, but it was a pretty hard fought game. We ended up losing. No, no, we actually won. We actually beat the Trojans. The 28. It was a low scoring game, 28-21, because we struggled a bit offensively, but defensively we was banging. There was times when both players had to play both defense and offense. I was one of them. They told me, you're not gonna be the quarterback for this game. I was like, what? I'm gonna have you do an offensive and defensive position like we practice. I was like, geesh, wow. All right, next thing, bro. And we're gonna. And the next thing you know, especially after that MetLife trip, we learned some stuff. Because oh geez, yeah, that was a fun trip. And next thing you know, we played the main our game home games at the Dome, and then we did do some road traveling. We did do some road traveling. Yeah, we did do some road traveling. ESPN. Because we actually start getting more recognition soon, and it actually ended up us, um, and we actually ended up getting more like ESPN time, ESPN2, and ABC. Some teams, some of them were struggling, but they still, because we still got ESPNU, ESPN News, so, and then ESPN3 eventually had to go to work because that's where most of our games ended up going on a lot. We had the Big East Network too. And the weird part about it was we were still on the road to the ACC, even though we managed to go undefeated, make it to the national championship. 20 the 20 the 2012 Natty was held in New Orleans. We played at LSU Stadium that year. The next year we played at where is he held at? We actually did play inside a professional stadium. 2013. Where was it held at? Sorry, guys. I don't mean to be boring you guys, but I'm trying to stay awake because I'm a little tired of myself. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see.
At Legal Hotline LLC, reaching out with a vital message. If you or a loved one were at Camp Lejeune between 1953
All right, where was the 2013 one held? 14 got held in Pasadena, California. Oh yeah, it was in Miami. Yeah, we had traveled down to Miami. That was pretty good. Yeah, we had traveled down to Miami. It was in Miami. Yep, that was another tough stadium player aside from MetLife Stadium. But we actually played Alabama that year. We actually played Alabama that year. That was another tough one aside from LSU. But I don't know which one. I don't know really which one is tough. I really don't know which one is tough. But aside from that, of course, we actually started basketball season when it was actually supposed to start. It was actually supposed to start October, which we did. Because the weird part about it was, we're so full. Football season is we got to get ready for. We had to multitask and be ready for basketball season as well, which we did. We started off a good 3-0, leading off to 6-0. And, talking about us winning back-to-back national championships, but that BCS national championship in Miami game, in Miami, that took the turn for the worst, man. It was a pretty good. It was a very hard hitting ball game. Don't get me wrong. I managed to get through being a quarterback that game. Just find whatever open man was open. Just run. We would put our fullbacks to work. We did. Yeah, our handbacks too. You know, our wide receivers. You know, because Alabama. They play some hard hitting defense now. Alabama Middle School was trained well. Don't get me wrong. Alabama Middle School was trained well. Alabama Middle School was trained well. They were trained like they were the real Alabama, dude. But hey, we beat them. The final score ended up being, I think it was another 28-21. But we ended up beating them. And if you didn't make the national championship, that's a good. No worry. You had other bowls such as just the regular top BCS bowls. This is before the CFP era. Yep, same with hopes. We actually were able to host the March Madness this year because the funding got better for the league. The funding got better for the league. Yes, it did. And, we were getting older. We almost grown adults. Here's the bear. So yeah, it's like we had another undefeated season. It could have been a 1-loss, 2-loss season. Top in the top BCS bowl, but hey, we managed to come through. This was before it was time for us to enter AACC. Now, 2013, on the other hand, we all know for Syracuse fans that was a real huge deal because we were entering a new chapter in life. Oh. Then we fast. Yeah, because the 2013 season that really took toll. It was a real deal changer. Because that was the last time we were ever gonna play inside. Well, from one Madison Square Garden, but no more Big East. 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 And that was the last year we was ever going to play at Madison Square Garden, and then it was time for March Madness. But we eventually won the Natty that year. Especially when we left Madison Square Garden, that was going to be goodbye for us because Madison Square Garden, aside from the dome, of course, Madison Square Garden has hold a special place for Syracuse. I know it gets more known for being St. John's territory, but dude, I'm sorry, Syracuse is the OG of the Madison Square Garden. It's a statistical fact. Don't get me wrong, St. John has beaten us at Madison Square Garden. They have done it, but there's a change of fact. We are the underdogs of Madison Square Garden. It's a statistical fact. But anywho, all right. Fast forward to hoop season. Next thing you know, basketball season. no, yeah, it was over. It was just a school year now, because but 2013, it was gonna be a real deal changer. Plus, before I watched ESP, on second thought, it made. I'm trying to figure out, the Syracuse making the ACC. Did Syracuse making the going to the ACC? Was it reported first live on WSYR, or was it reported first live on ESPN? I think my understanding it was WSYR, but then it eventually got on ESPN. It made headlines. It made headlines that we were going to the ACC. Alrighty. So fast forward, it's 2013. We are under a new dawn, a new era, because we've won the first two national championships. We gotta wonder, um, how else is this gonna keep? How long can we keep this up by winning more national championships? Because I'll admit, we got greedy. All right, so we fast forward. It's 2013. We got a real big one to start the season off at MetLife Stadium. Now, even though it's not necessarily a rivalry game for us, because we just started, we treated this game like it was a big rivalry. The Penn State Nittany Lions, because this was a real big rivalry for Syracuse. Penn State Nittany Lions. Because we're getting older now. We're getting older. It was real packed. It was real packed in that stadium. It was real packed in that stadium. We didn't play because Penn State and Syracuse played at like 3:30. We didn't play. We actually didn't play until around noon. So it had to be Mitch and match with the channels, because of the new league, because of the new contracts, they had to do some different stuff. So 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 So, all right, Penn State. I'll tell you, this was another hard-hitting defense team, because they played the Big Ten. It was only like the third year of the league. We're still new. Because, every division is different. Everybody gets trained differently, because our hitting had to start getting harder, too, because not to mention the fact, we were going to play a lot of real new big dogs, too. For one, Florida State. On another one, Clemson. Those were the real big two. Oh, and also the Boston College Eagles, too. Boston College Eagles, too. Boston College Eagles, too. Not necessarily count out the Wolfpack or any of them, but those were the real main teams, Florida State and Clemson, because they got they were getting the real good middle school recruits. All right, Penn State. Anyways, but yeah, we started our season off against at MetLife Stadium. It was a real good one. Good one. The biggest thing I noticed is, we still were having offensive trouble. I wasn't really happy. I was like, guys, this is like the third year in a row. Come on, guys, our offense gotta be ready to go. Our offense has got to be ready to go. Our offense has got to be ready to go. But yeah, man, that was the biggest thing. It was in real life it was 6-3 at halftime because in the real game it was very defensive. But for us, it was a very defensive first half. At halftime for us it was 10-3 Syracuse. Yep, I said Syracuse because I didn't want, because I was the real standard for the team. Like I wasn't liking the fact that we were struggling the first half, especially we planning on going to Natty. We gotta do better. We gotta do better, and that was our coach. We was under new coaching during the time. First year we had when it first started, it was Coach Haran, and then Coach Greer took over. And then fast forward to the new year, Coach Leffler took over. Because, yeah, it was mix and match with the leagues. Coach Leffler took over. He coached that one year, and then he just didn't want to do it. Then we had to eventually get a new head coach, and he was going to be the main head coach for long term for the remainder of the year of the league. You know what I'm saying? All right. Anywho, let's play Oregon. Excuse me. Nah. So yeah, yup. And then afterwards, the second half, Penn State was starting to make a comeback near the end of the third because then they ended up scoring a touchdown. And then it ended up being tied at 10. May I remind you, Penn State was actually ranked. They actually were ranked. I think they were ranked 23rd or 20th. We were actually ranked either third. No, we were ranked second. Clemson was ranked third, and Ohio State was ranked fourth. No, excuse me. Clemson was ranked 8th, and Georgia was ranked 5th. And fast forward to the fourth quarter, our offenses ended up going back and forth, back and forth. We ended up pulling off the victory 23-17. So again, then the next thing we had to start getting more physical because that wasn't the only Big Ten opponent we had. We traveled down. We were going to play Northwest. We were going to play at Northwestern. That ended up being, in real life, it was on the Big Ten Network, but that game ended up being not a Fox Sports game, and that game ended up being, I think it was an ESPNU or an ABC game, I believe. Because the channels were mix and match. channels were mix and match. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, the rest of our games ended up being ESPN's and ABC's. But the real big, aside from the Penn State game, the real biggest one is when we return. Is the week after we played the Clemson game. That was the real big one. The Clemson game. The Clemson game. That was the real big one. Because the dome was packed. And I really felt bad for Clemson. And Georgia Middle School wasn't bad enough for them. We come in the mix. 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 Yep, and the main reason why I felt bad for Clemson is because we was ranked higher than them in the dome. No, man, they had just got ranked in the top 3, and we ended up beating them. They just got ranked in the top 3, and we ended up beating them. We ended up beating them. Yep. And then we go on and on, then we fast forward, not to say we didn't slip it off against the Wolfpack, because they gave us a challenge too. Yes, they did. They gave us a real good challenge. Not that I wasn't surprised. We ended up beating them like 17 to 10. Jeez, because our offense did struggle. But fast forward the following weeks, we traveled down to Tallahassee. That's the real big one, because they had just beat Clemson, so Clemson already got two losses coming in the season. So, yup, get the job done. But it was not easy, man, because this was really the first year we had played them, so this was starting to become a big rivalry, even though we just had started. We just had started. We just had started. But yeah, it was hard hitting. The final score ended up being we ended up winning 31 to 24. But yeah, because this Florida State team was no joke, bro. I was like, oh man, they know how to play some defense too. They know how to play some defense. We ended up winning 31-24. All right, next thing you know, yep, because we thought that was bad. But we still had one more game against Boston College. Well, Pitt for one. Even though it was a big struggle for Pitt, but they managed to get together. They managed to get it together. That's why. We managed to get it together. So it was one of the last home games of the season. Who games us the season? They gave us a bit of challenge, but we ended up winning. We ended up winning like 28 to 17. 28 to 17. Yep, that was just about it. And then we actually played Boston College. They gave us a tough one, but we ended up winning 24-17. We went to the ACC championship. We actually played Duke this year. That year, excuse me. We actually played Duke. And they were ranked about 17th, but yeah, we ended up beating them. Yep, we ended up beating Duke. I would say the final ended up being like 45-3. I'll admit they did play a good defensive first half, but we still beat them, and then we ended up going to the championship, taking on the Auburn Tigers, and we won 41-38. Yep, we went down to Pasadena, California for the Rose Bowl. It's a pretty big deal. Yep, and then we also started hoop season. We got off to a great 10-0 start. Started off to a great 10-0 start. And fast forward to 2014, the year of my Uncle Matthew's death. Rest in peace. You know, it got tough for me over a certain amount of time, you know, because I ain't going to lie. I had a little attitude issues about, you know, because I really couldn't believe my Uncle Matthew had, you know, passed away that year. But I'm gonna leave that alone because I talked about, you know, I talk about this a lot. So you know, I'm older now, so that's starting to get a little old. So I'm gonna leave that alone. God bless your soul, man. Rest in peace. But I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave that alone because that is getting old. But yeah, I had me a little attitude issue, so they started giving me defensive positions because I usually play offense, you know, but I would say all that for the field. But they told me you gotta be careful of your hitting because you don't want to get flat for target. And mind you, we're on the new head coaching now. You know, we still the big dog in the ACC. Same with basketball, you know, because you know I would shoot three at the three. You know, I would play hard defense. We ready to go. You know, still more undefeated season. Yeah, but that will all start to change basketball wise because basketball wise, I try to hide it, but we did not go undefeated every single year. That's a common misconception. Don't get me, you know, we suffered some losses because that's not fair to everybody else. We suffered some losses, you know, because we ended up getting like new rivalries made with Duke, North Carolina, especially the first year. I remember the first year we did play them. It was no different from the real actual Syracuse game. You know, it started. You know, even though we had just started, it was coming a big deal, big issue. You know, big deal, the real big deal. You know, the crowds were packed. You know, we was ready to go. Oh, and what I also failed to tell you guys, excuse me, I forgot to mention. Syracuse University, sadly, it was during the 2012, 2013, especially 2013, 2014 season going forward. They told us we would not be playing at the Carrier Dome no more. I was a little suspicious, like, what? They told us we would not be able to play at the Carrier Dome no more because the college athletes sadly were not really happy. College athletes were not really happy that we kept using the locker room to sometimes we leave it messy, sometimes we want to clean it up, so they said we can no longer play at the Dome. And we're like, then where are we supposed to play? Fast forward, what I failed to realize, if you're a Syracuse, New York native, you guys heard of Destiny USA? Good. Because that's where our new home was. What I failed to realize was I was wondering, aside the fact that the new side of Destiny was coming, they weren't just building a new side of Destiny. They were actually building a dome. They were actually building a dome. They were actually building a dome. Yes, they were. Amen. Amen. Yep, because that's where we first started. That's where we started playing. That was our turf. The weird part about it was the one thing I miss about the days playing in the league is that one thing I really enjoyed about the league is, especially the days when we play at Destiny USA, is how packed it would get the mall on Saturdays, but also it became a real big deal. You see the screen, you see the screens. Literally, just about every game we played at that dome, including basketball. Every single dome, every single game, every time we would play there, it would be streamed on every single TV. Even at the Dave, even on the news side with the Dave and Buster's, the TGI Fridays, it would be streamed everywhere. That's what made the mall so special. So we said, you know, like, yeah, we gotta show the fans what we made of, because that's when we started playing in the 2013 season. They said no more playing at the dome. Back for the 2014 era. Alright, we're gonna play basketball, football, football. Basketball, football, excuse me, yeah, basketball, football, but yeah. But yeah, we started playing. Yeah, it was whole. Yeah, it took them on new heights. Not to mention the fact, you know, big revenue, and we got paid more over time. But you know, fast forward to 2014 to 2015 season, this was the real big challenge, because my middle school days, a lot of our middle school days were done. So what are we gonna do now? Especially when we called it quits the 2015 season, because 2015 I was getting ready to transition from middle school into the high school, which I did. All right, next thing you know, we went to the dome. The dome, yeah, the new dome had made. It was up to about. They said they were gonna make it about up to 50,000 capacity for the dome at the Destiny USA. Up to 50,000. They said, yep, only 50,000, because we're not an NFL football team. You know, let's just go by the normal attendance for the regular Syracuse games. But other than that, yeah. Um, other than that, other than that, Yeah, and then the mom became our home. But this is where things started to, because I had to get in contact with the NCAA commissioner. I haven't talked to him in like forever. Like, what are we gonna do? Is the league gonna get shut down? Are we no longer gonna be able to play? He said, "Quit your bitching, and I'll tell you." He actually cared about us because we really did not want this league to die. So you know what he said? We're gonna form a high school league. This really took things to new heights because we're no longer little kids. Because I'm about to be a grown man soon, but I'm not grown yet. Because a lot of them, we ain't grown yet. That we don't get grown until like the 20. Most of us to like the 2017 season. Well, me, but yeah. So fast forward 2017. Excuse me, not 2017. Fast forward to the high school Chronicles. The NCAA commission talked to us about getting better salaries, but we had to meet certain GPA requirements because the high school, that's where it's all at now, because about which college are you going to. So fast forward, our football teams got more physical, got more older, got more, we got more elaborate, more physical. We ready to go. Amen. We're ready to get more physical, ready to go. Including the basketball teams, a lot more hard hitting. A lot more hard hitting. A lot more hard hitting. We are ready to go. Yep, and we still won back-to-back natties, but this is the CFP era. This is a real big thing. When we made the CFP for the first time, for the first year, this was a real big thing for us. We made progress. Yes, but it's not gonna be an easy journey here on out. We got more recognition on college game day. They wanted to come host it a couple of times in Syracuse, but and also when it came to the CFP, came to the CFP, time too. Lots of money, better salaries for us, and a lot more money for the because this is the Reese Davis era now. We're under the Reese Davis era now. But either way, um, they hit it got physical because it almost like we were playing at the college level, but we had to be careful. But because the high school level, that's where it really all begins until you get to the college level. But yeah, better salaries, better, just ready to go. We eventually got back to playing at the JMA Wireless Dome, but it's called the Carrier Dome. It was before we get to it was called the Carrier Dome at the time because they said Destiny USA does not want to be part of the equation when it comes to sports revenue no more. So they just use that dome for watch parties and whatever. Yup, and then fast forward, it's my senior year of high school. Which college am I going to? Am I going to continue? Because that was the biggest question. I made national headlines. Was I going to continue? Was I going to not just me and lots of other ones because we've been through a lot. Were we going to continue to do these leagues? Were we going to continue to push on with our athletic careers? And a lot of them, some of them got accepted in colleges. Some of them, but for me, I said, I told him I'm gonna pursue my bachelor's degree, and I called it quits. But I'm also gonna continue to play for Syracuse University. They were happy, because I did play. I played football. I played. Yep, I continued, and uh, I was under Dino Babers now. Yep, I played for SU. I played for SU. I played for SU. Uh, yep, and I continue. Yep, I continue. It wasn't the 2019 season because sadly, well, those high school days, I made a lot of money, and I used it to pay for my semesters too. And we was actually living in nice houses too, nice hotels. But I'm gonna leave that alone. Fast forward, we it was 2019, 20. It was my freshman year of college. In real life, I told you guys I went to Utica University. That was not the case in the dream world. In the dream world, I actually went to Syracuse University and played for Syracuse. Yep. But there was, but wait for it, not not football. College, you have two options. You can either play football or you can play hoops or you can do whatever. But for me, I played a lot of football. Don't get me wrong, but Syracuse sadly, I told them I was not playing for the 2019 season. Not football. Yup. It was just straight hoops. It was just straight hoops. And I'll admit we had tough seasons. Don't get me wrong. Especially when the pain, because that was the real toll when the pandemic first hit. But I'm gonna leave that chapter alone. But this was a pretty fun journey for me. This was a really fun journey to me. All right. That being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. Love you guys. Peace.